La dee 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 da da da. Oh, they fly in my fruits. Something. Hello, this is Pigsy doing another video. I hope you're doing well. I think happy Easter, whatever that means. It's new life, I guess. Officially, the year has started and life has begun. And I guess it has got a positive vibe about it. It's getting there. So tonight, I shall talk about lots of different things. I'm trying to remember what I've talked about before. Sometimes I do things, I put them on a video and I don't put them across and then there and stuff. There's a couple of paranormal things. I'll get them out of the way quickly. So, I have a client who has a terminal illness that will kill him. I won't exactly say what it is. And he's not taking medication for it, which has accelerated the effect it has on his body. So it's quite sad. He's a young bloke, been through a lot, and he, suffering stuff. But it was interesting. My ears sort of pricked up when he talked about seeing shadows that move around his bedroom at night and make him very uncomfortable. And I thought, that's interesting. And also he talked about having a rat that come into his property because the pipes weren't sealed up around him. So some rodent come into his property, and that sort of unnerved him quite a bit. So he felt very uncomfortable by this, having an idea of a rodent. And he was wondering if these shadows are connected to the rodent or not. But he said he went to look for the rodent, and he was in his kitchen, and something hissed. And he told this guy, and he fell out a bit. This exterminator wasn't pleased with wherever he is. I guess they are exterminators, pest control. And he said he made some sort of a little sort of joke because he said rats don't hiss. And I was thinking, well, the thing I know that does hiss, it has been said that some of these jinn or beings can hiss when threatened. So it's not a sort of an unhuman gesture, and it's universal pretty much. Like bugger off, leave me alone. Or a warning, basically. So I thought that was interesting, and I thought, well, these things do exist, so I keep an open mind, and that's the kind of relationship I have with him as well. But the only problem, he's been very, very elusive, and I've hardly seen him, and he's been unwell and all sorts of things, so I'm going to have to push the contact. Well, I like doing my care work. I like supporting people. I don't want to sort of, go there and never have any contact and so on. So yeah, we'll mix it up a bit. I still feel a bit butthurt about falling out of manageress, but I realise it's a bloke thing. Sometimes you are like that, kind of. Which is a bit more than manageress anyway. But yeah, I mean, these things happen. Basically, whether I misread her signals, whether it's just like cultural, yeah, you can flirt with guys when you're a married woman. I mean, sometimes they do. But the problem with a guy is you tend to want to look for a conclusion, like why, and there's a lot of activity in the air. Not police activity there. The thing is, you want an outcome, basically, and just flirting, having nothing further to do with you. It's a bit kind of, where are you going? Oh Christ. I just don't know what he's doing. So yeah, and that just I think men's pride gets caught up, and there wasn't really any kind of agreement in place. But I think it's more subconscious was geared up. And the other thing is, if you come, my experience, if you come from a kind of broken home, and it wasn't necessarily bad, it just kind of, the parents were either working a lot or mentally they were absent for whatever reason, and so maybe there were some areas in my life where I would have needed some sort of direction, emotionally support, or some role model stuff, and it was just difficult that being there, or hugs, and maybe, I mean, basically, if a woman starts to hug me or shows me affection, I find it quite confusing, and that's because I never received it when I was growing up. So it's just one of them things. If somebody does something that you don't have a measure for, it's sometimes confusing what their intentions are, because I haven't had anything to kind of measure it by. I think it's just a hypersensitivity. That's what happens to it. But it doesn't matter. It's just that the problem is your subconscious can sometimes try to overrule, or your more primal part of your brain try to overrule your any other layers. And that's interesting about the layers of operating systems of the brain. We're going to the MGTOW and stuff like that. So I started learning some Spanish, and what I found was interesting is, because it dealt with this like Rosetta Stone images and stuff, is that there is kind of like, you see an image that you can say, oh, Carl, and you see these things, but you're not thinking, oh, that's a car, caro. I mean, I can link it and say, well, yeah, caro, you can see the origin of the word. So it kind of it's interesting that, like, the image and thinking of what the word is, and starting to think in that language as well, is very interesting. It's not looking to translate it from English to a different language, but it's like setting up a different operating system, because the issues are in it, like Oagua, it's like the Jaguar, different pronunciation of the letters, combination. There's some words that still get on my nerves, but Amarillo, Amarillas. Yeah, it's like yellow. It's like a J with the L's and stuff. It's a bit, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Because the thing is that this program, if it doesn't pick up what you say properly, and it doesn't always, I think there might be some issues with the mic or something. I don't know. It can be a bit irritating, because it's basically saying, you didn't say it right, and you keep doing it, and so kind of interesting how the brain operates at a more sub-level. I mean, they're probably able to hack into these things, but I can't switch off feelings. If I like someone, I like them. But then again, that's true of anything. I mean, putting aside what I might blame it on, like say, well, if I grew up differently, but that could be a load of hooey, basically. I mean, it might not matter at all. It might be that I'm just a sensitive person. It could be that I've got autistic traits that also increase that, or whatever. It doesn't matter. So it's kind of work in progress. Though, just work through it. I think as long as you can, there's a point. You're standing in the way, God's sake. Standing in the way of the vehicle. It's like, well, you can't turn because you're there. Yeah, I mean, basically, as long as you can, it's a point of return, then it's fine. If you overreact to something, like someone's hypersensitive, emotional, and you say, oh, women are like that, but if it's compounded with some sort of abuse or something, it can be a very toxic overload. It's kind of all that stuff comes back to the surface, so that can be quite difficult. So yeah, anyway, going on to next sort of paranormal sort of stuff. It was a bit of a while back, and I was going to visit this client, and I saw this like silver, like a plane in the distance. It's quite bright, and he just seemed to disappear into a cloud or sort of something. It was there, and it seemed to either it went up. its altitude went up, it went through the cloud or something. I don't know. Yeah, I do that as well. Actually, like that, don't you? Lights indicators, that guy behind me. So there we go. So I didn't think too much of it. I just thought that's very strange. Anyway, so I met the client who lived down the road. She lives in Wokingham, and she told me that she woke up in the middle of the night and she saw this little light, and this light had these little red circles round it. She said had these little red balls round it. And I was like, okay, so you've got a floating light with red balls round it. I was thinking, well, it's not a torch light. I was trying to think what could generate it. Could a car generate that? Was it a distortion of rain and a red light? And I mean, the woman's in her 90s, and she said it just seemed to disappear. It's very strange. I thought, So yeah, again, it's something like, well, it's a strange coincidence. I was going towards a direction. I saw this craft in the air. I couldn't identify what it was. It just didn't seem to hang around. It seemed to disappear. And this woman's telling me about on the same day going towards it. She's telling me about something she's seen by a bedroom window. So I was like, okay, that's pretty odd. Don't know if she's having any other occurrences. We'll just have to see in the future. What else have we been doing? Oh, well, I've been trying to play around with weight as well. I think cider vinegar works really well. I think that's quite good for your salads and stuff. Because I want to reduce cholesterol. I've also got blood pressure issues. And the other thing about medication is that, you know, they might say take it all the time, but you can regulate yourself as long as you, well, I'm not saying, and this is not medical advice obviously, it's just that I didn't want to take tablets that had side effects, so that's why I regulated for what I wanted. But if I notice it's high, I definitely take certain ones, calcium blocker ones. The other one's Ramipril, is like a water tablet. I don't really get along with it. It just makes me feel like some wet cough. Feels like I'm being suffocated or something. I don't know. Making me leak water. Diet wise, yeah. So I tried my meat diet. It was quite good actually. I had the meat and everything. It was really nice. And then I switched reason. I tried to add more salad. So and then you end up adding things to salad, to be honest. But the idea was to have maybe 10% protein if it is a meat of sorts. And then the rest of it's all salads, just load up on salad or leafy greens because they contain magnesium, and I want the magnesium, the bio-absorbent magnesium would be totally fine. Because these other types of magnesium, they can flush through your system pretty quickly, and it's not as good. Yeehaw, going for all the lights. Any other stresses? Yeah, so I guess, so anyway, so diet, try to get under control, try to lose weight. I do find, like I said, putting cider vinegar on it seems to work. Nuts can make me super hungry, and also regulated to hunger, because I did like a 3-day fast without eating, and I did that on a regular basis for a bit, but the body started to adapt so quickly, it just made me tired all the time, and I wasn't really losing much weight. I was pushing myself, and all was happening is my body was just trying to shut itself down, and I just didn't feel like I had much energy, so therefore that's not good. Now I feel like, at the moment I feel slightly hungry, which is good, because that hunger, so I just have to just sort of suppress it a bit, so I have a cup of tea. But yeah, it's a bit of cider vinegar and other things, so I do try to eat well, but I'm trying to get the balance right. Anything else? My lower back hurts slightly. Manual handling things, we're moving people around, occupational hazard, so stretch out the lower back. Basically keep the hamstrings, and there's some other things as well. Keep an eye on, just like the alignment of skeletal system, just so bits click. Like little micro squats, not like a full squat. It's just warming up the tailbone, doing stuff like that. So it's preparing myself. That's what I'm doing before I do anything else. Because it's just a problem when people go from the mobility really drops down fast, and you've got to deliver some support to them. Work's a bit up and down at the moment. There's cutbacks. I'm seeing the care. Oh, look at that, crazy, eh? I'm seeing the care sector is shrinking a bit. I think that's just the times. So, and I mean, I don't think there's any ill feelings with me and the CEO. I mean, deep down, I care about her quite a bit, and that's probably why it's so easy to trigger an emotional hyper response. And I think she likes me at some level. Otherwise, she wouldn't be treating me different. But it could be for whatever reason. I don't know. But I can't interpret these things that well. If somebody's buying you like alcohol and they're telling you, they're sort of praising you behind your back and pedestaled a bit and all these other things, they're kind of the things that men would be more vulnerable. Women see it coming, they're like, nah, I don't believe any of that nonsense. They think, oh, you're just after one thing, aren't you? But it's a bit different. If a bloke happens to a bloke, it's like really confusing. And like I say, it wasn't something happened in the past. I grew up in a family of 5, so it wasn't all pedestaled. And on occasions you get rewards and treats and stuff, but it wasn't sort of like how to deal with a lot of praise or these coping mechanisms. It sounds weird, but it just seems odd sometimes, So there's lots going on there. As a result, I'm being a bit more careful with the money. I'm not going crazy on investments. There's a lot of shit out there, basically. So the crypto market's going up and down, up and down. So anything I bought in cryptocurrency is just going to stay there until the bull run, because you want to be cashing out a profit. I just bought an asset. That's it. That appreciates and depreciates and all sorts of things, all in the same day. Sometimes 20% up, 20% down. But it still looks like it's dwindling down a little bit at the moment, whether it's consolidating and so on. And I bought some property in Ohio. I bought this latest tokenized one, something called Lofty .ai, and so they can set up a crypto account on their end on the thing, and you can get it paid straight into your bank, or you can collect it to an external wallet. So even if you don't do cryptocurrency, it's worth understanding the mechanisms for it, because it's a bit like I don't buy things using my phone, like people like a credit card and they tap it on things and all sorts of things. But it's worth knowing how the technology works. Just because if you can't, it's a bit like mobile phones. I didn't at first get a mobile phone, and because they were like bricks, but then it was just kind of like not to have one seemed strange. And nowadays, if you said you ain't got a car, you ain't got a phone, whatever, it's hard to get a job. You ain't got an email address. They're like, what email? If you turn around and said, oh, I only pay my stuff by cheque, some of the older people do. I don't have a credit card, and it just seems so strange. It seems like an alien thing. Like, why wouldn't you know how to do that? So there we go. Anyways, a little catch up. Like I say, have a good Easter, enjoy yourself, and we will speak again. Bye bye.